Imagine walking into a room you've never entered before. You haven't introduced yourself. You haven't shared your opinions. You haven't revealed anything personal. Yet before you even finish saying your first sentence, someone has already begun forming an opinion about you. Most people use those first impressions to decide whether they like you. Manipulative people use them for something entirely different. They're quietly asking themselves questions you can't hear. How confident is this person? Will they challenge me? Do they trust people too quickly? Can they be pressured? Will they say no if I cross a boundary? None of these questions require a long conversation. Many experienced manipulators rely on subtle behavioral clues that appear within seconds. These clues don't tell them everything about you, but they help them decide whether you're likely to resist or whether you're someone they should test further. Understanding these signals isn't about becoming fearful of everyone you meet. It's about recognizing how first impressions influence human behavior so you can protect yourself without pretending to be someone you're not. Today, you'll discover 10 subtle things manipulators often notice during the first 30 seconds of meeting someone. The final lessons are especially important because they reveal signals that most people unknowingly display every single day. Human beings naturally make quick judgments. Psychologists call these thin-slice judgments, rapid impressions formed from very small amounts of information. Research suggests that people often begin forming impressions within moments of meeting someone. Those impressions aren't always accurate, but they can strongly influence future interactions. Manipulative individuals tend to pay particular attention to behaviors that might reveal confidence, boundaries, emotional reactions, or decision-making patterns. That doesn't mean every confident observer is a manipulator, nor does it mean someone can know everything about you in 30 seconds. The point is that first impressions often shape what happens next. The good news is that many of these signals are completely under your control. Small changes in awareness, posture, communication, and boundaries can dramatically change how people respond to you. By the end of this video, you'll understand which behaviors may attract unwanted manipulation, and more importantly, how to project calm confidence without becoming cold, suspicious, or defensive. Before we continue, if you're fascinated by psychology, emotional intelligence, body language, and the hidden patterns that shape human behavior, make sure you subscribe to Human Behavior Secrets and turn on the notification bell. Every week, we explore practical psychology lessons designed to help you understand people more clearly, strengthen your confidence, and protect yourself from unhealthy behavior. And make sure you watch until the end. The final lessons reveal the subtle signals that experienced manipulators often notice first, and once you become aware of them, you'll never look at first impressions the same way again. Now, let's begin. Lesson 1. How comfortable you are setting boundaries. One of the very first things a manipulative person may notice isn't your appearance. It isn't your job. It isn't even your intelligence. They're often paying attention to something much simpler. How easily do you protect your personal boundaries? This isn't about dramatic situations. It begins with tiny moments. Do you immediately agree with every suggestion? Do you apologize unnecessarily? Do you laugh at jokes that make you uncomfortable? Do you ignore your own preferences to avoid disappointing someone you've only just met? These small reactions can communicate far more than most people realize. Healthy people usually interpret kindness as kindness. Manipulative people may see excessive people-pleasing as an invitation to test your limits. They might interrupt you to see whether you object. They may make a small, unreasonable request just to observe your response. Or they may subtly pressure you into making a quick decision before you've had time to think. Notice that none of these behaviors automatically means someone has bad intentions, but they can become early tests. Psychologically, manipulators often look for consistency. If someone repeatedly sacrifices their comfort to avoid conflict, they may assume those boundaries will remain weak in larger situations. The solution isn't to become confrontational. It's to become comfortable saying simple, respectful phrases like, "I'd rather think about that first. That doesn't work for me. I appreciate the offer, but I'll pass." Strong boundaries don't require aggression. They require clarity. Ironically, people who communicate their limits calmly are often treated with more respect because they demonstrate quiet confidence rather than emotional defensiveness. Lesson 2. Whether you need immediate approval. Another subtle signal often appears before a real conversation has even started. How much do you seem to need other people's approval? Some people unknowingly seek reassurance almost immediately. They apologize repeatedly. They laugh nervously after every sentence. They constantly check whether the other person seems happy. They quickly change their opinions to match whoever they're speaking with. These behaviors are completely understandable. Many people develop them after years of criticism, rejection, or difficult life experiences. But manipulative individuals sometimes notice these patterns because approval seeking can make someone easier to influence. When your self-worth depends heavily on being liked, saying no becomes much harder. Disagreeing feels dangerous. Questioning someone's motives feels uncomfortable. You begin protecting the relationship even when the other person isn't protecting you. Confident people don't assume everyone will like them, nor do they need to prove their value within the first few minutes of meeting someone. They remain polite, respectful, interested, but they also allow trust to develop gradually. One of the healthiest psychological habits you can build is remembering that approval is something earned over time, not something you must immediately secure from every new person you meet. The less desperate you are to be accepted, the more clearly you'll be able to evaluate whether someone deserves your trust in the first place. Lesson 3. How you react to small compliments. One of the oldest psychological techniques for understanding someone isn't asking difficult questions. It's giving a simple compliment. Imagine meeting someone for the first time and saying, "I like your confidence," or "You're very easy to talk to." To most people, those words seem harmless. But to a manipulative person, your reaction can reveal far more than you realize. Do you immediately dismiss the compliment? Do you become overly excited? Do you suddenly begin trying even harder to impress them? Or do you simply smile, thank them, and continue the conversation naturally? Psychologists have long understood that compliments create small moments of emotional vulnerability. For someone with healthy self-esteem, a compliment is pleasant, but it doesn't suddenly change their behavior. For someone who deeply craves validation, however, one compliment can quickly become emotionally significant. A manipulative person may notice this difference. If they see that praise strongly influences your emotions, they may begin using compliments strategically, not because they're sincere, but because they realize encouragement makes you easier to influence. This doesn't mean you should become suspicious whenever someone says something kind. Genuine compliments build healthy relationships. The important lesson is this: never allow compliments to replace careful judgment. Someone can admire your work while still earning your trust over time. Healthy confidence allows you to appreciate kindness without becoming emotionally dependent on it. When your confidence comes from within, compliments become enjoyable, not controlling. Lesson 4. Whether you rush to fill silence. Silence makes many people uncomfortable. A conversation pauses, only for 3 or 4 seconds. Yet someone immediately starts talking just to avoid the quiet. Most people never notice this habit. Experienced manipulators often do. Why? Because silence creates psychological pressure. People naturally want to reduce uncertainty. When a pause feels awkward, many individuals begin revealing more information than they originally intended. They explain themselves. They justify their decisions. They apologize unnecessarily. Or they continue speaking simply because they assume they should. A manipulative person may intentionally allow brief moments of silence, not because silence itself is manipulative, but because they're watching how you respond to uncertainty. Do you stay relaxed? Or do you begin talking simply to escape the discomfort? People who remain calm during silence often communicate quiet confidence. They don't feel responsible for entertaining every moment. They understand that thoughtful pauses are a normal part of healthy conversations. The next time you notice a brief silence, resist the urge to immediately fill it. Take a slow breath. Maintain comfortable eye contact. Allow the conversation to develop naturally. You'll often discover that confidence isn't measured by how much you say. Sometimes it's revealed by how comfortable you are saying nothing at all. Lesson 5. How easily you reveal personal information. Trust is one of the most valuable parts of every healthy relationship. But trust isn't something that appears instantly. It's something that grows through consistency, honesty, and time. One thing manipulative individuals sometimes pay attention to is how quickly someone shares deeply personal information. Imagine meeting someone for the first time. Within minutes, they begin telling you about painful family conflicts, financial struggles, relationship disappointments, or deeply personal fears. This level of openness can create the illusion of closeness. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as accelerated intimacy. When personal information is exchanged too quickly, people often feel emotionally connected before genuine trust has had time to develop. Manipulative individuals may recognize this pattern. If someone becomes emotionally attached very early, influencing them later may become much easier. This doesn't mean vulnerability is a weakness. Healthy vulnerability is one of the foundations of meaningful relationships. The difference is timing. Emotionally intelligent people allow trust to grow gradually. They reveal personal experiences as the relationship proves itself worthy of that trust. Think of trust like building a bridge. You don't drive a heavy truck across it before it's finished. In the same way, healthy relationships become stronger when emotional openness develops step by step. Protecting your personal story doesn't make you secretive. It makes you wise. The people who genuinely deserve to know the deepest parts of your life won't expect to hear them within the first 30 minutes, let alone the first 30 seconds. Lesson 6. Whether you trust too quickly. Trust is one of the most valuable gifts you can offer another person. But like any valuable gift, it should be given thoughtfully, not automatically. One thing manipulative individuals often pay attention to is how quickly you lower your guard. This doesn't happen through dramatic moments. It happens in ordinary conversations. Do you immediately believe everything you're told? Do you assume good intentions before someone has earned your confidence? Do you ignore small inconsistencies because you want the interaction to go well? These behaviors are understandable. Most people want to believe that others are honest. Optimism is not a weakness. In fact, healthy trust is essential for friendships, relationships, and teamwork. The problem begins when trust is offered without observation. Manipulative people sometimes rely on this. If they notice that someone rarely asks questions, overlooks obvious contradictions, or quickly accepts promises without evidence, they may conclude that the person's trust can be influenced more easily. Psychologically, this is connected to what researchers call the halo effect. When we like one quality about someone, perhaps they're charming, attractive, funny, or confident, we often assume they possess many other positive qualities as well. Without realizing it, we may give them trust they haven't yet earned. Emotionally intelligent people take a different approach. They remain polite. They remain open-minded, but they allow trust to grow gradually through repeated actions. They understand that genuine character isn't revealed by a great first impression. It's revealed through consistency over time. One simple habit can protect you from countless disappointments. Don't confuse feeling comfortable with someone for truly knowing them. Comfort can happen in minutes. Trust should be built through experience. Lesson 7. How you handle small challenges. Not every test comes disguised as a difficult situation. Sometimes the smallest moments reveal the most about a person's confidence. Imagine you're having a conversation and someone politely disagrees with your opinion. Or perhaps they accidentally interrupt you. Maybe they arrive a few minutes late. None of these situations are major problems. Yet your reaction says a great deal about your emotional stability. Manipulative individuals often pay close attention to these small moments. Why? Because your response helps them predict how you'll react under greater pressure. Do you become defensive immediately? Do you panic whenever something doesn't go as planned? Do you abandon your own opinion the moment someone challenges it? Or do you remain calm, curious, and emotionally balanced? Psychologists often describe this as emotional regulation, the ability to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. People with strong emotional regulation don't feel the need to win every conversation. They don't interpret every disagreement as a personal attack. They pause. They think. They respond instead of reacting. This quiet self-control makes manipulation far more difficult. Someone hoping to provoke an emotional reaction often loses interest when they realize their attempts aren't producing the desired effect. Remember, confidence isn't measured by never facing challenges. It's measured by how you behave when challenges appear. Your first reaction often teaches people how you'll handle much bigger situations in the future. Lesson 8. Whether you respect your own time. Time is one of the clearest reflections of self-respect. And surprisingly, it's something manipulative people may notice almost immediately. Think about the first few minutes of meeting someone. Do you instantly rearrange your schedule because they ask? Do you wait endlessly without questioning repeated lateness? Do you allow conversations to continue long after you've said you need to leave? Do you repeatedly sacrifice your own priorities to make someone else's life easier? Kindness is admirable. Generosity is valuable. But consistently treating your own time as less important than everyone else's can unintentionally communicate something else. It may suggest that your boundaries are flexible enough to be ignored. Manipulative individuals sometimes test this in subtle ways. They may arrive late without explanation. They may repeatedly ask for just one more favor. They may expect immediate replies to messages while taking hours or days to answer yours. Each situation seems small on its own, but together, they reveal an important pattern. Healthy relationships involve mutual respect. Both people's time matters. Both people's responsibilities matter. Both people understand that consideration goes in both directions. Respecting your own time doesn't mean becoming rigid or selfish. It means recognizing that your attention, energy, and availability have value. When you calmly protect your schedule, honor your commitments, and avoid feeling guilty for having healthy limits, you communicate something powerful without saying a single word. You show that you value yourself. And people who genuinely respect themselves are often much harder to manipulate because they understand that saying yes to everything usually means saying no to something that truly matters. Lesson 9. How comfortable you are saying no. One of the fastest ways someone learns about your boundaries isn't through a long conversation. It's through one simple word. No. For many people, saying no feels uncomfortable, not because they don't have boundaries, but because they worry about disappointing others. They fear being seen as rude, selfish, or difficult. Manipulative individuals sometimes recognize this hesitation almost immediately. They rarely begin with outrageous requests. Instead, they start with something small. Could you stay a little longer? Would you mind helping me with this? Can I ask you for one quick favor? None of these requests are necessarily manipulative. Healthy relationships involve helping one another. The important question is what happens after you decline. Does the other person respect your answer? Or do they pressure you, question you, or try to make you feel guilty? Psychologists often describe this as boundary testing. A person may not even realize they're doing it consciously. They're simply observing whether your limits remain consistent under pressure. People who struggle to say no often find themselves agreeing to things they never wanted in the first place. Over time, resentment replaces kindness. Stress replaces generosity. Healthy confidence doesn't require explaining every decision. Sometimes the most respectful answer is also the simplest. No, thank you. I won't be able to. That doesn't work for me. Notice there's no anger, no hostility, no long apology, just clarity. Ironically, people who respect their own boundaries often receive more respect from others because they communicate that their decisions are thoughtful rather than easily influenced. Remember, every time you say yes to something you don't truly want, you're often saying no to your own priorities. Learning to say no calmly isn't about pushing people away. It's about protecting the life you're trying to build. Lesson 10. Whether your confidence depends on other people's opinions. Perhaps the most important thing a manipulative person notices within the first 30 seconds is this. Where does your confidence come from? Does it come from knowing who you are? Or does it depend entirely on how other people respond to you? This difference changes everything. Someone whose confidence relies on constant approval can be influenced through praise, controlled through criticism, or redirected through fear of rejection. On the other hand, someone with healthy self-confidence behaves differently. They appreciate compliments, but they aren't controlled by them. They listen to criticism, but they don't let it define them. They remain open to learning without constantly seeking permission to feel valuable. Psychologists often refer to this as having an internal sense of self-worth. Your value isn't determined by whether strangers approve of you. It comes from living according to your principles, making thoughtful decisions, and respecting yourself even when others disagree. This doesn't mean becoming stubborn or believing you're always right. True confidence remains humble. It welcomes feedback. It admits mistakes, but it doesn't abandon its identity simply to gain acceptance. Manipulative people often lose interest when they realize they can't easily influence your emotions through approval or disapproval. That's because your confidence isn't something they control. It's something you've built from within. And that's one of the strongest forms of protection anyone can develop. Conclusion. The first 30 seconds of meeting someone may seem insignificant, but beneath every greeting, handshake, smile, and conversation, something remarkable is happening. Human beings are constantly observing one another. Most people are simply trying to understand who you are. Manipulative individuals, however, may be looking for something different. They may be searching for hesitation, approval-seeking, weak boundaries, emotional reactions, or signs that someone can be easily influenced. The good news is this: none of these signals define you forever. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you practice. Healthy boundaries can be learned. Self-respect can grow. Emotional awareness becomes stronger with experience. The more you understand yourself, the less control unhealthy people can have over your decisions. And perhaps that's the most important lesson of all. This video isn't about teaching you to fear everyone you meet. It's about helping you recognize your own strengths, identify areas where you can grow, and develop the quiet confidence that naturally protects you. Because the safest person isn't the one who suspects everyone. It's the person who understands themselves so well that manipulation becomes much harder to achieve. The strongest defense isn't fear. It's awareness. If you found today's psychology lesson valuable, take a moment to like this video. It helps more people discover practical psychology that can genuinely improve everyday life. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 10 signs do you think most people unknowingly reveal in the first 30 seconds of meeting someone? Share your thoughts below. Your perspective might help someone else see human behavior in a completely new way. And if you're passionate about psychology, emotional intelligence, body language, confidence, and understanding the hidden patterns behind human behavior, make sure you subscribe to Human Behavior Secrets and turn on the notification bell. Every week, we publish in-depth psychology videos designed to help you understand people more clearly, build stronger relationships, protect yourself from unhealthy manipulation, and develop lasting confidence rooted in real psychological principles. If you enjoyed this video, don't stop here. Explore the next video on our channel and continue discovering the fascinating psychology behind everyday human behavior. Until next time, keep observing, keep learning, and keep uncovering the hidden secrets of the human mind.